Hello to all of you amazing souls out there. Normally, we would only do one episode a week, and I'm on break, so this is very different than what we would normally do on the show. But it's Thanksgiving, and I received a whole bunch of beautiful messages recently, and I got them while I was on break, and I just hated just hoarding them quietly to myself. And wanted to sort of say thank you for that and also to everyone on the show. So before I get into this, I want to tell you guys a very funny story. So when I first met my husband, at this point, I guess you could say we were dating. I remember it was like the first week that we were together. And he said to me, he was like, I'm going to ban you from saying I'm sorry and thank you. And I was like, the fuck? You can't ban me for saying anything. And on top of that, what? Like, where is this even coming from? And he was like, you say it all the time. You always say I'm sorry and you always say thank you. And I was like, no, I don't. No, I don't. He goes, okay, I'm going to count it. You get to 5 today. And like, you're banned for like a week and you can't say it anymore. And wouldn't you know, in like an hour, I'd gotten to saying like 5. And he banned me for like a week of saying those words. Where every time I would say him, he'd be like, nope, just no. He would just act like I never said it. And he was right. I at that point in my life, I apologized way too much for things that I didn't really need to apologize for. And I was so unused to people or anyone really caring about me as a person because of who I was and how I was and all my quirks. And I was so grateful that someone did and that it was him, that every single time he would do something, even slightly sweet or just normal, like the fact that he acted like I was a normal human being, I was so grateful over that because I was so not used to it that I told him thank you all the time. And while I now understand that I am very much a normal human being and I don't need to apologize that many times in a day or say thank you that often, I'm still very grateful. And this podcast, when I first started it, I doubted it a lot because around the time that I started it, I was also, like, whenever I would do my weekly sort of tarot card reading, I would also get this, like, reading that was like, you need to stop doing this thing, or, like, you need to, like, move away from this thing. And I was like, listen, I've got a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I had just started this podcast. And I was like, are you talking about the podcast? And I would, of course, tarot cards don't give you yes or no answers. So I would literally be like, can you be a little more specific? And they would be like, nope, you'll know. Like, you know what I'm really talking about. And finally, I just had to say, look, this wouldn't have happened so easily if it wasn't meant to happen. And I said, I don't think the tarot cards are talking about the podcast at all. Because before I had even started it, I asked them. I wasn't sure how much time this was all going to take. I mean, it seemed sort of normal and I thought it would be fine, but it takes a lot more time than I ever thought it would. And I wanted to be responsible and I wanted to be very honest about my time and where I was as a human being and in my own journey. And I had to realize that the tarot cards didn't mean the podcast at all. They actually were pretty fine with the podcast. They've never once said anything about the podcast. They seem to enjoy it, just like my spirit guides enjoy being on it. So once I sort of did that, things really changed for me about the podcast. And everything that I've shared with you guys and how open I've been, I'm a very open person. That's just how I am. If you ask me a question, I will give you an honest answer. And I just sort of think that's how it should be. Does that mean that I trust you? No. But you asked me the question, and so I'll give you an honest answer. And that's just sort of how I look at things. I think that you can be honest and open without necessarily trusting every person who comes into your life. And just using that as a level of respect for another person. Because if they're asking and they truly want to know something about you for a healthy, good reason, part of creating that band and that bridge and that bond, if that's something that you want to do, is answering them honestly. I never expected to share as much of myself as I do on this show. I never expected to have as much fun as I do on this show. I am constantly surprised at this show, at everyone, at myself, every day. And I have met so many fantastic and wonderful people that I never thought I would meet. So many people have been so supportive of this like little thing that I do that I remember I used to be scared to talk about. And it's that quote that I saw once on Instagram, because I swear I would never talk like this in real life. And it said sort of like, once you find yourself, you'll find your tribe, or something like that. And I was like, okay, but it's actually really true. Embracing myself, my spiritual well-being, my gifts, who and how I am, has led me to embrace life much differently, has led me to find people who also embrace life that way so easily. And it's been such a beautiful and wonderful and warm and well-rounded process. And it all happened because of this podcast and because of each of you. So I wanted to tell you thank you to every person who listens to this show, to every person who talks to me, chats with me, discusses topics with me wherever, retweets my tweets, responds to my social media, looks at the website, listens to me for hours on end, because let's be honest, I've talked a lot on this podcast. And just everybody, thank you. And so I wanted to close this out, and really the whole reason why I made this is because I got these beautiful emails and recommendations recently while I was on the break. And it felt so wrong to just hold them there until I came back. So the first thing that I wanted to read is a recommendation that I got. It's from someone named Tracy. I'm not going to read your last name just in case, you're a little uncomfortable with that. But it says, Melissa gives me peace of mind. I found that not everyone connects or feels things the way I do, and thought I was going a little crazy. Hearing stories of things that seem familiar is refreshing. Knowing not everyone is like me, but there are some that can relate. Thank you so much for being you. I recommend you listen to all of the Haunted Ride. Thank you so much for that, Tracy. And like I just said, I feel the same way as you do. Even though I've been doing this for such a long time, it's so strange to me that people relate to me. I've gotten a little bit more used to it over time, but it's still always like oh my goodness, somebody else knows, somebody else has gone through this, and they want to share it with me? Holy shit. Like, I feel like that every single time. So thank you. I appreciate it. Drew from Ghost Train Podcast, who literally has been so supportive of the show, blows my mind. But he left me a review, and it said, love the spooky stories. So many creepy stories and great guests. Keep up the great work. So thank you so much, Drew. He's so grateful. He's such a grateful human being. And I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate all the support and everyone's support. And the last one, which touched me very deeply. So, Meow Mix, still the best response I've gotten for first and last name, I must add. And I really hope that you have a bunch of cats who have Meow Mix. And like when you wrote this, and each time like you write into me, you like were staring at a bag of Meow Mix, or you had just gotten done feeding your cats, and that is why you named it Meow Mix. If you do not have cats, please get a cat. You have to have a cat, because like I need all my dreams to come true right now. It says, Melissa, thank you for coming into my life. I was looking for scary stories to listen to, maybe around the end of August, and I came across yours. Not only were there scary stories, but real life shit on your podcast. I was so excited to hear someone out there had some real experience that I had to binge the rest of them. And then you discussed my topic suggestion on one of your podcasts. I was blown away because it made it even more real for me. Hence, I've been inspired to work on my abilities that I too closed off a long time ago. I feel something meant for me to find you. Thank you for sharing your life openly, and as hard as it is sometimes, love yourself. So, thank you. I think that's the that's the best response I can give this, is just a truly heartfelt thank you, because this really touched me, and I will keep it for a very long time and probably somewhere frame it because it means so much to me, especially that last part of saying love yourself. Because I always say it to you guys, and I always try to remind myself to do it too, but it's different hearing someone say it to you. So that's all I have for you guys. That's it. Just a bunch of mush. Please have an amazing time. Have an amazing holiday. A great Thanksgiving. Whether you like to celebrate it or not, eat a shit ton of food. And if you don't like to cook, go somewhere. Just enjoy yourself. That's really what every day should be about, is about enjoying yourself. Now for me, myself, I've got to go start cooking. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Stay safe. Have an amazing day and a great night. Love yourselves and love others. And as we always like to say, don't let the ghosts get you, especially those ghosts of turkeys this holiday season. Bye.